A man has pleaded guilty to threatening Merriam-Webster, yes, the dictionary company, with violence over their dictionary definitions of female, girl, and woman. Yes, it's getting to that point as well. Let's go to some details. This guy's name is Jeremy David Hanson. He's 34 years old, and he's from California. He faces up to 5 years imprisonment after pleading guilty to one count of interstate threatening communications to commit violence against employees at the Massachusetts-based company. He also pleaded guilty to another count of the same offense filed in the Eastern District of Texas for targeting the University of North Texas president. So in a comment on October 2nd of last year, Hanson, under the name Anon he wrote, "It's absolutely sickening that Merriam-Webster now tells blatant lies and promotes anti-science propaganda. There's no such thing as, quote, gender identity. The imbecile who wrote this entry should be hunted down and shot." So some details from what we may have seen in Merriam-Webster that it has his feathers all ruffled up. Among 7 definitions for the word female, Merriam-Webster includes this is the second definition: having a gender identity that is the opposite of male. Female is that definition. This is enough to trigger this guy to the point where he then sent further threats to Merriam-Webster's contact page using anti-trans slurs and calling for someone to shoot up and bomb its offices. Wow. It's almost like terrorism or something like that. So these threats, they caused the publishing company, of course, to shut down for a minute and in Springfield, Massachusetts, and New York City for roughly 5 business days. All these offices are thinking someone's coming for us. They don't exactly know where they're going to be coming, so let's just make sure all the offices are safe. Also, he has a bit of a history when it comes to violent threats because the FBI interviewed him at his mother's side on July 27th back in 2015. He was a medical psychiatric resident at the University of California Irvine Medical Center, and they determined him fit for this interview. He repeatedly expressed remorse for earlier comments and others, and he promised to stop. But authorities said Hanson just kept going. Here's one of those examples, and it gets pretty graphic because there's some sexual assault mentions in here. He says, "I'm going to effing kill you," he wrote, one DC Comics writer, after the company announced that Superman, Clark's son, Jonathan Kent, was bisexual. You guys maybe remember that story because they did lose their minds over it. He said, "I'm going to rape your wife and decapitate her, then blow up DC Comics headquarters. We're going to have a civil war and exterminate you cultural Marxists destroying America." That's what he wrote to the author. And he concluded with the most typical thing, Trump 2024, because that's awesome. Also, April 19th of 2020, he wrote that he wanted to go on a shooting spree at the offices of the American Civil Liberties Union. Crazy how that works. He's also scheduled to be sentenced on January 5th, but his mental health history could play a role in how hard they come down on him. Maybe you could have expected this, but I actually wasn't expecting this part. Hanson told FBI agents on October 27th of last year that he experienced obsessive compulsive disorder, Asperger's, anxiety, depression, and problems with impulse control. So before we open this up, I just want to point out one thing. Before people want to start thinking, oh, let's blame it on his mental health issues and the things that he's maybe been undiagnosed or untreated for, this isn't something that goes towards folks that suffer from these types of things: obsessive compulsive, Asperger's, anxiety, depression, impulse controls. This is something that's been fed to him, and he's regurgitating what people who don't suffer from those types of things are telling him to believe. He's believing it, and many times these folks didn't carry it out. And afterwards, the people who push it go, who could have seen it coming?
Yeah. So this is amazing. They're now literally attacking work. And this is how fundamentalism works, right? You can't draw the Prophet Muhammad. Wait, why? I'm not any religion. Well, I'm going to kill you. Okay. You can't say that word. If you put that word in the dictionary, I'm going to kill you. No, it's insanity. It's insanity. They're like, I don't know. Maybe he thinks Merriam and Webster are dudes. And he's like, okay, Daniel Webster, I'm coming for you. No, wrong guy. Anyway, but guys, these are real threats. And those people are scared. They closed up their offices for 5 days in Massachusetts and New York because, they're not used to it. We're used to it. We know right wing, some portion of the right wing are violent lunatics. And so we're super used to it. Like a violent threat against us is Tuesday, right? But for folks who have never dealt with it, it rocks their world, right? You're working at a dictionary company. You have a totally inoffensive job. You're not involved in politics. We don't even know your politics. Maybe all of them are Republican. Who knows? Right? They work at a dictionary company. What do we know about their politics, right? And so, and these guys come and threaten to murder you. You're probably like, Jesus, what the hell's going on? And America finds it perfectly normal. Like, oh yeah, of course, yeah, the right wing is thinking of killing people for words, obviously. And like, but everything's 50-50. Everything. You ever see any Democrats going around threatening to murder dictionaries or the people who write words in dictionaries? The answer is never, never. Why? JR nailed it. Because there's no left-wing media or left-wing politicians going out and saying, go do harm to people. Go hurt them. Okay. Oh, they're chopping up kids. They're doing this gender identity. Gay people are a threat. Go kill, attack. We don't say that. As mad as we get about the right wing, and you know nobody gets more mad about the right wing than I do, right? But I never tell you to go attack them. That's crazy. If you attack them, you've lost. You've surrendered. You've said, I can't win a battle of ideas. So like a loser, I'm going to resort to violence. That's how we talk. The right wing talks like, hey, man, I mean, somebody's got to do something, right? And so this guy's not just a lone guy. 41% of Republicans say that it might be time for violence. That's a real poll. That is tens of millions of Americans. Where did they get that idea? They got it from right-wing media and right-wing political figures that keep telling them, if you don't agree with someone, you should physically attack them. And last thing on this, look, that guy that attacked, that wanted to decapitate people, etc., or because of some comic book character's son being bisexual. But there are bisexual people in the world. They exist. He's saying the fact that you exist as a human being is so offensive to me that if anyone ever writes it down anywhere and acknowledges that you exist in any way, shape, or form, I will murder them. That's as fundamentalist as it gets. That's as hateful as it gets. And it isn't considered, like, it's barely a story, guys, because it happens all the time. Every morning we have to have a discussion about, should we do another story about how a right-winger is threatening to murder people? Because they're so common.
It's their political platform. I mean, they have no issues other than violence. And I think we are pretending that it's not extremists. I said this earlier, it's not about extremists. We see politicians, our police and military who participated in January 6th. All of these people buy into this idea. And the fact that we are saying that, you know, their base or their media, who they're talking to, their audience, may be not as bright as light bulbs. The thing about it, though, is it's a lot of them out there. It's so many that we better be aware that what you said about Tuesday, it being Tuesday, Cenk, when you receive a threat from white nationalists, that Tuesday should not be normal for you. It should not be a state or part of our democracy that you can have a different opinion and it makes somebody wants to kill you for that. However, we don't see a side. There's nobody on the opposing side talking down to people who believe or think or act this manner. I mean, we see candidates talking about hunting rhinos and in full tactical gear. This is not an extreme ideal anymore. This is a part of our politics, which is why we can't say that we have a healthy democracy or democracy at all at this point. We are still arguing 2 years later about the truth of our election for our president. I think we are at a point right now in this country where we can no longer pretend that this way of thinking is not as American as apple pie or baseball. When Superman's son can't be bi and Ariel, the mermaid, can't be black, even though, damn, all the oceans are near black and brown people for the most part. So I'm telling you, people, the imagination of a false character can't be representative of anything other than European traditions or heritage. Is the reason Black people became slaves and only Black people could be slaves in this country, or it's the reason that Americans felt the need to put Japanese Americans in internment camps. It's the reason that Dave wants to kill a kindergarten teacher for talking about gender identity, knowing that there are kids that are trans or bi or gay. It is absolutely disgusting. Yeah. Sorry for smacking the table.
Okay, last quick thing. look, to Mondale's point, they're mainstreaming violence. They're making it look like it's normal. And this has happened before in the country. It's not unique, by the way. You know who did it before? The Klan. And that also started media. It started with a movie called The Birth of a Nation. Okay, it revitalized the Klan movement, which was dead in America, and media got you to believe that, oh, it's normal to go commit violence against people you don't agree with or that don't look like you. And so they're doing it again. And yes, right-wing media is definitely bringing the Klan back and then washing their hands of it. Oh, I mean, I told somebody to do something. Oh, it's that guy. Well, I don't know that guy. I just whispered it in his ear. He's the one who did it, and I'm innocent. No, you're not.